Have you ever reached a point in life where you realized peace matters more than popularity? Where comfort, silence, and self-respect are more valuable than keeping everyone around you happy? If you're over 60 or getting close, this message is for you, because there's a hard truth we don't often say out loud. Not everyone deserves your kindness anymore. That's right, after a certain age, being too kind, too available, too forgiving, it doesn't make you a better person, it makes you a target. And if you're not careful, it can cost you your health, your energy, even your happiness. In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 types of people you should never be kind to after 60 if you want to protect your peace, your energy, and your joy in these precious years of life. And I don't say that lightly. I say it as someone who's watched too many seniors lose themselves trying to please the wrong people. So before we get into the first 2, and trust me, they're more common than you think, make sure to subscribe to this channel, Elderly Reflections, for more content grounded in real-life stories, science, and senior wisdom. We share motivation, quotes, inspiration, and life lessons from the elderly to help you live with dignity and joy. Let's begin. Taker. The entitled taker. You know who they are. They show up when they need something but disappear when you need them. They're the ones who assume your time is always available, your money is theirs to borrow, and your patience is endless. And sadly, many of them are family. Sons, daughters, nieces, nephews, who stop seeing you as a person and now treat you like a bank, a babysitter, or a backup plan. Harold, his youngest son, hadn't visited in months. Then suddenly called him one day, full of charm. "Dad, how are you doing? I've been thinking of you." Harold was thrilled. They talked for an hour. 2 days later, the son called again, but this time it was about a loan. "Just until next month, Dad, I promise." Of course, Harold gave it. But the month came and went. No payback, no visit, no call. Harold realized something that day. His son didn't call because he missed him. He called because he needed something. It hurt, but it opened his eyes. As we age, our energy becomes limited, and every act of kindness should be an investment, not a drain. The truth is, the entitled takers don't care about your peace. They care about your convenience. And if you keep saying yes, they will keep taking until you're empty. Protect your time, protect your boundaries, protect your heart. Kindness doesn't mean saying yes to everyone. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is to say no. The constant complainer. This one is sneaky because it often shows up in the form of an old friend, a neighbor, someone you've known for years. And at first, it just feels like conversation. They call to catch up, they visit for coffee. But every time the talk turns into a dark spiral. Complaints about the government, the neighborhood, their health, their kids. Every story ends with doom. Every opinion is negative. And when you hang up or say goodbye, you feel drained, not uplifted. There's an old saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So ask yourself, are those people lifting you up or pulling you down? There was a woman named Joyce. She's 72, retired nurse, lively and full of energy. She joined a walking group in her town, hoping to stay active and meet people. But one woman, Margie, latched onto her. Every walk turned into a vent session about her ex-husband, her ungrateful kids, her bad back, the news. Joyce tried to listen, to be supportive. But after weeks, she noticed something. She started feeling more anxious, more irritated. Her own mood got darker. So she did something brave. She stepped back. But Joyce felt free. Here's the thing, at this stage in life, peace is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Constant complainers don't just waste your time, they infect your spirit. You're not selfish for protecting your energy. You're wise. You've earned the right to spend your days with people who make you feel seen, heard, and hopeful. So if someone constantly dumps their negativity on you and never takes responsibility or brings light to your life, it's okay to step away. Kindness doesn't mean becoming a sponge for someone else's bitterness. You can care and still keep your distance. So what do we do with this? We start observing, not just who's in our lives, but how they make us feel after each interaction. Are you exhausted after the call? Do you feel anxious after the visit? Do you dread hearing from that person? That's your body's way of telling you, this isn't good for you anymore. After 60, your peace is your wealth, your energy is your power, and your time is your most precious asset. Don't spend it on people who don't value it. Don't be afraid to say, I'm choosing peace, because peace is not passive, it's powerful. Before we go deeper, I want to invite you to reflect. Have you had someone like this in your life recently? What did you do about it? Let me know in the comments, and if this message resonates, take a moment to like the video. It helps us keep bringing you content filled with elderly wisdom, senior health guidance, motivation, and life lessons from the elderly. And if you haven't already, subscribe and hit the bell so you won't miss part 2. More important reflections are on the way. One last question for you. Where are you watching this from? Let me know below. I love seeing our community grow around the world. Type 3. The subtle manipulator. This person doesn't yell. They don't demand. They don't even ask directly. Instead, they use guilt, silence, passive remarks, and emotional blackmail to get what they want. And the worst part? You often don't even realize it's happening until you're left feeling confused or guilty for saying no to something you never agreed to in the first place. Subtle manipulators often say things like, "Well, I guess I'll just figure it out on my own, as usual," or "I didn't think you'd say no, I thought you cared about me." Those are not loving words. They're emotional weapons. And for seniors who have always prided themselves on being kind, generous, and supportive, this kind of manipulation hits deep. There's a man named Roger. He's 69, retired school teacher, widowed. He has a niece who lives nearby and often leans on him. At first, it was small rides to the store. Help with the kid, he enjoyed it. But over time, the requests got bigger. She'd forget her wallet and ask Roger to cover groceries, then bills, then a new phone. And when he gently suggested he couldn't keep helping, she replied, "Wow, I didn't think I had to beg my own uncle for help." That line stuck with him. It made him feel like he was the bad guy. But then he talked to his pastor, who told him something that changed his life. Roger, boundaries are not rejection, they're self. From that day forward, Roger started practicing a new word, no. And the first few times were hard, but each time he said it, he felt stronger, lighter, more in control of his life again. Subtle manipulators thrive on your guilt, but guilt is not the same as love. If someone truly respects you, they respect your no just as much as your yes. Watch for the signs. Do they make you feel guilty for resting? Do they twist your kindness into obligation? Do you walk away feeling unsure of yourself, even though you were just trying to help? That's manipulation, and it doesn't belong in your life, especially now. Type for the past 4. This one's deeply personal. The past hitter is the person who refuses to let you grow. They remember your mistakes, your failures, your regrets, and they never let you forget them. These are the people who say, "You always do that," or "Well, remember what happened last time." Even when you've changed, even when you've grown, you still treat you like the person you used to be. And if you're not careful, you start believing them. Here's the truth. You are not the same person you were 10, 20, or 40 years ago. You've evolved, you've learned, survived. But the past holder keeps trying to drag you back, to remind you of who you were when you were lost or broken or still learning. And often it's family. A sibling, a cousin, even an old friend. Like in the case of Raymond, who's 73, a recovering alcoholic, who's been sober for 19 years. He's rebuilt his life, reconnected with his daughter, even volunteers at a recovery center for seniors. But every Thanksgiving, his brother brings up the past. "Remember that time you missed Dad's funeral because you were drunk?" Or, "I'm just glad you're not passed out under the table this year." At first, Raymond tried to laugh it off, then to ignore it. But it stuck. It hurt. It made him feel like no matter how far he'd come, his mistakes would always define him. Until one year, Raymond didn't show up. He stayed home, cooked himself a quiet dinner, and called his daughter instead. And you know what? He said it was the most peaceful holiday he'd had in years. There's a powerful lesson there. Forgiveness doesn't always mean reconciliation, and growth doesn't require anyone's permission but your own. If someone keeps throwing your past in your face, they're not helping you stay grounded. They're trying to keep you stuck, and after 60 you deserve to live forward, not backward. You deserve friends and family who see who you are now, not who you were then. People who support your peace, not sabotage your progress. You don't owe anyone a permanent seat in your life. Just because they've been around a long time, loyalty is earned in the present, not owed from the past. So let me ask you something personal. Is there someone in your life who's been pulling strings behind the scenes, making you feel like you owe them? Or someone who won't let go of an old version of you, even though you've done the hard work to become better, stronger, wiser? If so, this is your permission to step back, to protect your mental health, your confidence, your joy. Elderly Reflections is a space where we believe in honoring the journey you've walked, not chaining you to it. And if that means setting boundaries with people who don't respect your peace, then you're not being unkind, you're being courageous. These years after 60, 70, and beyond are not about shrinking to fit someone else's narrative. They're about expanding into the peace, power, and possibility you've earned. So don't be afraid to rewrite your circle. And if someone belongs to a chapter that's closed, it's okay to leave them there. Type 5, the soft doubter. You might know exactly who I'm talking about. This is the person who constantly questions your ideas, not with hostility, but with hesitation. They don't criticize you directly. They don't mock you. They just sow small seeds of doubt every time you try to grow. You say, I'm thinking of joining a painting class. They reply, at your age? Won't that be exhausting? You mention, I want to go on a trip this year. They say, I don't know, isn't that risky with your knees? You tell them, I'm considering moving to a quieter town. And they say, but how will you make new friends at this stage? These are not people shouting at you. They're whispering. And that whisper, if repeated often enough, becomes the voice you hear in your head. The voice that stops you from trying, from living, from believing you still can. The soft doubter is usually someone close. A well-meaning sibling, a longtime friend, even a spouse. And they don't always know what they're doing. In fact, their doubt often comes from their own fear. Their fear of aging, of change, of trying and failing. So they project that fear onto you. And over time, it starts to shrink your world. I met a woman named Teresa. She's 76, still sharp, still mobile, still curious. She told me she had a lifelong dream of learning French and spending a summer in a small village in France. After retirement, she had the time, the savings, and the spark. But every time she brought it up to her older sister, the same comments came. Teresa, that sounds lonely. What if you get sick? You won't understand anyone. Just stay home where it's safe. Teresa held onto that dream for 10 years. And she never went, not because she couldn't, but because someone else's fear became louder than her own desire. I asked her if she regretted it. She looked down, then said softly, every single day. That moment stuck with me. Because here's the thing, after 60, you don't owe anyone the version of yourself that makes them feel more comfortable. You don't have to stay small to keep others calm. You don't have to sit still just because someone else is afraid to move. The soft doubter may love you, but they don't always believe in your potential. And if you keep absorbing their fear, it becomes your future. And what a loss that would be. Because the truth is, these years, your 60s, 70s, 80s, and even beyond, are still yours. Yours to explore, to express, to dream. You still have time to fall in love, to take a road trip, to publish your poetry, to take a dance class, to forgive yourself, to start again. And if someone can't see that light in you, that's okay. But don't let them blow it out. So what do you do when the soft doubter is someone you love? Someone you've spent your life beside? You set boundaries with grace. You say, I hear your concerns, but I'm choosing to try anyway. You stop explaining yourself. You start taking small actions toward what makes you come alive, and you surround yourself online or in person with others who say, yes, you can. That's what Elderly Reflections is all about. A space where seniors are not talked down to, not treated as fragile, but celebrated. Where motivation meets wisdom. Where quotes aren't just cliches, they're reminders that you still matter. That your story isn't over. In fact, some of the most beautiful chapters might still be ahead. As we wrap this series, I want you to remember something vital. Kindness is a gift, but after 60, it must be given with discernment. Because your time is not infinite, your energy is not unlimited, your peace has been hard-earned. Don't spend it on people who diminish you, drain you, manipulate you, or keep you stuck. Choose your circle like you choose your food, nourishing, energizing, and good for your long-term well-being. And that doesn't mean cutting everyone off. It means being clear about what you'll tolerate and what you won't. It means releasing guilt, embracing boundaries, and protecting your joy like the sacred treasure it is. So let me ask you one final question. Who in your life needs a boundary right now? Who do you need to say no to, not out of anger, but out of self-respect? Let me know in the comments. And while you're there, please like this video if it gave you something to think about. Subscribe to Elderly Reflections. We're building a global community grounded in inspiration, senior health tips, motivation, and the timeless life lessons only the elderly can truly teach. Turn on the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Because we're just getting started. And finally, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? I love seeing where this wisdom travels. From one senior heart to another. Thank you for spending your time with me. Protect your peace and never apologize for living your truth.